I was 35 years old when our third round of in vitro failed. So we decided to adopt. My husband is Japanese American, and we had heard that if at least one of you were Japanese, you could adopt from Japan. So our first step was to create a portfolio. So I loved scrapbooking. So I made a loving and beautiful scrapbook full of pictures of us at the beach, at our stable jobs, with our supportive relatives. And we took pictures in our eerily uncluttered, child-free home with quality Japanese merchandise, such as our Sony TV, Yamaha piano, and the Lexus in the garage. Subtle, I know. Well, we sent off the portfolio along with a heap of paperwork. And just a few weeks later, we heard back from Japan that there was a baby boy waiting for us. So I hurried up and did all the paperwork necessary. We got on an airplane, flew to Tokyo. Now, our son was staying in a maternity ward for the first several months of his life. So the Japanese agency did not want us to get anywhere near the hospital where he was. They didn't even tell us the name or the city even. So instead, they wanted to meet us at a very fancy hotel lobby. So we took a taxi there, met our beautiful boy in the lobby, along with the agency director and her assistant. Now, they spoke just as much English as we spoke Japanese, which is almost zero. My husband spoke zero at all, and I only knew konnichiwa and arigatou gozaimashita, hello, and thank you very much. It was a little bit tough communicating, but we did it. And what we did was we went downstairs below the lobby. They had this very fancy mall, so the rich hotel guests could spend even more of their money. So the director parked us in front of the Chanel store. I'll never forget that, how strange that felt. We were on this marble bench with this chubby little baby, and it was so not comfy cozy. It was very hard and rigid, but they had asked to give their clothes back. I thought that was kind of strange, but okay. I brought a cute outfit from my mom that she had sent along. So I changed our son there on the marble bench, did a few more papers and a few photos, and we were off with our son. Now, we had to stay in Tokyo for about a week to finish paperwork with the embassy and to get his visa. And in between those meetings, we did little excursions around town. And luckily, our son loved being in the baby sling my sister sent along, because strollers were really impossible to use in downtown Tokyo. It's very crowded. So he just peeked out from inside the baby sling as we went to the baseball stadium and the Ginza shopping district and the zoo and the Buddhist temples. And we just had a wonderful time, despite the incredibly hot temperatures and high humidity of June's monsoon season. We just sweat together and bonded. It was beautiful. Now, we were so excited to get home that when our paperwork got finished a day or two early, I called the airline, and just on the off chance they might have an earlier flight for us. Well, they did, and the flight was in 2 hours. So, oh my gosh, we hung up the phone, threw everything in our suitcases. We were running around our apartment like crazy people, and we got on the shuttle bus just in time. Now, our son was absorbing all this frenetic energy, and he was pretty fussy in the bus. And I surprised myself because I started weeping, like ugly crying audibly in this bus. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, are we not excited? We're going home. We're going to go back to US and create our life together. Why am I crying? So anyway, I just endured. I held him nice and tight and just made it to the airport barely in time. We were the last ones on the plane. The door slams behind us on the airplane, and we sat down for this 11-hour flight with this new to us baby. I'm sorry to say that our baby screamed bloody murder for the first 2 hours of that flight. Sorry to anyone who was on that flight with us. I'm now very compassionate when I hear a baby crying on an airplane. We never know what their parents have been going through. So we were just so ignorant. We didn't know what our baby needed, how to soothe it. You know, we were just so new at everything. So we finally made it. We made it home and we started our life together. Now our baby is 19 years old. And by the way, he's given me explicit permission to share this story publicly in case anyone was worried. And I now understand why I cried in that shuttle bus. Now I understand relinquishment trauma and attachment issues due to adoption. And I believe I was channeling my son's intense grief at leaving everything he knew. his birthplace, his birth family, who we will probably never meet, his language, all the food and smells and tastes and sights and culture of this beautiful country were going to be gone for him. And as grateful as we are to have Joey in our life, our beautiful baby who's grown into such a wonderful young man and is going to change the world, I promise you, that came at such a high cost for him. He had to lose so much for us to have him in our family. So maybe someday he'll want to go back to Japan. If he lets me, I will go with him. I will laugh or cry, depending on how it goes, right along with him. And maybe someday he can heal some of those wounds of being moved across the globe for our intercountry adoption. Arigatou gozaimashita.